Last time on Virginia Football, the building of a program.
One of the most important questions that can be asked of a head coaching candidate for football is who are the people that you're considering to have as part of your staff?
In putting the staff together, you want to bring in people that you know, that you've had a prior relationship with. I chose Jim Reed because he is the ultimate energy guy.
I met Mike London when I became the head football coach at the University of Richmond. It was love at first sight. The game of football is an aggressive game. Everybody says that it is. Guys can hitch their belts, button their chin strap, and play a hard, fast, vicious type of football.
We're expecting leadership from Ross Tsai, playmaking ability from Ross Tsai, and just the fact that I think he's just an overall good person.
I had this great picture in my mind of what should happen here with this football program. It was a great opportunity to come and make a big impact as an offensive coordinator on this program. The best quarterbacks are the guys who've had success and defeat. They have a chance really to take their game to a new level.
This program, when I was associated with it, has been known for having really, really good offensive line, good running backs, good tight ends.
We're going in the right direction, in the right seams, in the right gaps, and in the right coverage. When it's done right, it's like artwork.
Expectations for Virginia football under the direction of Mike London are high. But inside the McHugh Center, it's known building a program to last will take time.
Clearly, we had to make sure that Mike understood that we were going to be patient and supportive in this process. You don't lose 13 of 16 games and expect a new coach to come in and just turn around in 1 year. It's important that everybody understand that he's got to get some guys in here to complement the talent that is here. A different coaching philosophy. There's probably going to be some attrition associated with that. It's going to take 2 or 3 years for him to get his guys in here to build a program where it needs to be, so we're structured to compete for championships. That's going to take some time, and we said that to Mike very early on.
From the standpoint of closing the gap from the recruiting and talent base, and from the perception of what people think about our players, we got some work to do. But I think there's a lot of guys that are here that are very capable student athletes that are good players. And so now it's to take those that have that kind of makeup and then fuse it in with a couple plays or schemes that can utilize their strength and their talents, and then fuse that in with recruiting some good players at key positions that can make things happen for you. Then it's an over the time process that those things start happening.
London's first spring practice at UVA wouldn't be as much about football as changing the attitude inside the locker room.
This team is starving for something positive to happen to them, starving for just being associated with something that's positive.
I think some of them were burned out. There was, and I don't know what that's from. I don't know if it was from the previous staff or what, but I just know that there were a lot of kids that were burned out. They were. Some of them were tired of football.
Get them in the community, get involved with something that's positive that they feel good about themselves. So they don't attach just the football part of it. We had the Bone Marrow Drive at Newcomb Hall. A lot of great students and faculty members and people showed up for that. Feel good about yourself. Creating situations where these guys can have success doing something. I'm not talking about football. And you have to be able to build on that.
One of the things that concerns me as an administrator, the one thing that Mike has done, he's come in here and created some excitement. So what that tends to do is it gets people excited about, oh, we're going to see results right away. Well, I think Mike's done a lot to energize the fan base, the student athletes in the program, his coaching staff. But please understand, when you hit the field, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of people getting on the same page to get to those results we all think are possible. So again, I think that's 2 to 3 years out.
London has grown accustomed to winning. His record as a head coach is 24-5. And he admits patience isn't one of his strong suits.
One of the things, talking to my kids, we were just kind of talking about, we're watching some program and they were talking about, all right, kids, if your dad's there, if your parents are there, I want you to tell them one thing that they're great at. And so all my kids are like, Dad, we like the way you play with us and blah, 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 blah. And then, all right, so that was good. Warm fuzzies. Then they said, okay, kids, on TV, okay, kids, if there's one thing, one word to describe what your dad doesn't have, what is it? And the four of them at home, all of them, like within seconds of each other, says, patience. You know, so I myself don't have a whole lot of it, but I also realize and recognize that I got to surround us with the right kind of players, the right kind of coaches, what I think we have, the right kind of schemes, the right kind of player that wants to be here because of the academic qualifications, working on that. And then rebranding and talking about the message to those young men that are out there now in those high schools that say, okay, I like the energy, I like the school's academic reputation, I like the coaches, you know, so there's a certain segment of them out there too that are waiting to see, all right, well, how these guys are gonna play. So that's why I'm doing it. And I love the challenge of doing that. And I think I got the right guys to do it with. It's exciting to be out here after doing all the meet and greet events and all that. So it's good now that we do the football part of it. So we're ready to go. Stretch! Stretch! Let's go! Here we go! Stretch! Let's go! Here we go! Here we go, Will! Let's go! Here we go!
March 15th was the first day players and coaches could work together on the field. But before progress would be made, morale had to change.
I think establishing a new kind of culture, a positive culture, was the foundation of his new program and his number one priority.
Part of changing the culture is it's a process. When you come in, there's always elements that you want to bring to the table that, you know, who you are and what you believe in. And I think one of the things is no secret to a lot of people is I'm a very relationship-oriented guy, very positive. So the first thing I try to remove is all negativity and, you know, and just try to accentuate on the positive. Put it on, brother. Put it on. Go. Throw it to a spot. Put it on. They'll be there. They'll be there.
Rad 40. Rad 40 high.
That's it. There we go. That's it. That's it. That's the way to put it on him there. There you go. You just run your route. He's going to throw it to a spot. All right? There you go. It'll be there. The ball will be there waiting for you. Hang on to that ball. They're going to try to get the ball out.
Read it. Open. Plan.
You know, when you put a practice plan together, you have to break it up. I mean, first you have to assess the skill level. And then how you do that, you craft the practice that will assess the skill level, and that may entail more movement, more agility, more, you know, providing the players to do some of their position-specific things, but maybe have a quarterback sprint out, and then bootleg. Have a quarterback throw the ball, you know, under duress, and try to manufacture a rush. And then you can look at his feet, his arms, his mechanics. With a defensive lineman, the same type of thing. Put them through bag drills, on-air bag drills, cone drills, crash mat, whatever it may be. Now let's put the systems together. You know, we're going to be an outside run team, or we're going to be a play-action pass team. Then you put those systems together and you practice it.
There we go! There we go! There we go! That's it, Mathis! Hey, Will, that's good. As soon as he pops up like that, it's a pass. Get back into your rush lane right there. There we go. Good. Absolutely.
And then in the end, trying to find out who your playmakers are. Then sometimes you just say, okay, listen, you know, whatever that play is that we have called, that we've run continuously in practice, then I want to see this particular individual getting the ball.
Yeah! Touch up! That's the way! That's the way! That's the way! Oh, that's the way to come off the ball!
Virginia enters the 2010 season without a proven signal caller, but they do have someone who's played significantly. Rising senior Mark Varica, the Pennsylvania native, has made 9 career starts. They all came during the 2008 season after Peter Lawlick was dismissed from the team.
I was in the McHugh Center one day, and Coach Groh called me into his office, and he sat me down, and he said, "Here, read this." And it was his statement to the media and the press, and it said, Saturday night against the University of Connecticut, Mark Varica will start for the Virginia Cavaliers. So I was pretty blown away. And he says, "You got it?" And I was like, "Yep." And then that was it. And then we just went to the meeting, and he announced it to the team that I'd be playing. So I was excited. I was nervous. I was shocked, but I thought I was ready to handle it, and I was prepared. The rest of that week of practice, I had a pretty good week of practice, and then Saturday night came around and we were in Hartford, Connecticut, and we lost pretty handily. I had a pretty decent game myself. I did okay, but just being out there for the first time and playing at this level, you know, the game was very fast. It was a violent game, but it was exciting, and I was glad to finally get that off my chest.
Verica was 22 of 30 in his first collegiate start at UConn, but the Cavaliers lost 45-10. Things didn't improve the next week when Verica was 19 of 42 and threw 4 interceptions in Virginia's 31-3 loss to Duke. It marked the Blue Devils' first ACC win in 26 games.
Tyler Robinson goes into the end zone, and this one goes from bad to worse. It's getting ugly here from Durham, North Carolina.
Coach Mike could sense that I was still struggling. I had to let go the week before. He just kind of pulled me aside. You know, we just kind of talked about what I was feeling, and he kind of eased my mind a little bit and just told me, you're our guy and things are going to be okay and you're going to do well. So that was good to have that word of encouragement from him. And then when we went to play Maryland the next day, you know, everything clicked and we did really well.
Down, Verica takes the snap out of the shotgun, holds on to it himself, going to try and run for it. He tries ahead. He is going to be in. Touchdown.
After that, I was just like, wow, you know, what is happening? I just threw 4 interceptions last week and we lost to Duke. And then just now, we beat Maryland by 30 and I had a great game. So I was like, what is going on?
Verica's strong play continued through the month of October. During a 4-game winning streak, he completed 76% of his passes and threw for 5 touchdowns. But the roller coaster ride would start again in November of the 2008 season. Sitting atop the ACC standings, Verica's fumble late in the fourth quarter helped Miami win in overtime. The Cavaliers would lose their remaining 3 games as well. In those losses, Verica threw 7 interceptions and was benched in the final game of the season at Virginia Tech in favor of Vic Hall.
Well, here's a little wrinkle right out of the gates. We're going to see Vic Hall line up as a quarterback.
I struggled down the stretch. I threw some interceptions, and you know, we lost some big games, and and then after that season, it seemed like I'd kind of fell out of favor maybe a little bit with that coaching staff. So I had shown that kind of stretch of, you know, what I could do, but then at the end of the season, I also I showed them that I was still, you know, an inexperienced player and still capable of making bad plays that hurt the team.
Verica played sparingly during the 2009 season. He attempted only 63 passes and didn't start a game.
It's inherent that the quarterback's going to take a lot of heat, but I think he may tell you now that, you know, that didn't bother me or shook it off. But in talking to him, I think that it did.
I heard a lot about Mark's past. I hadn't talked to him a whole lot about it other than just in what his approach to football should be, and really tried as hard as we could not to focus on what had happened, other than I asked him what games he thought I should watch in the past.
Coach Laser walked in and he just came right up to me, introduced himself. I shook his hand and we just started talking about the offense and what he's going to expect from me, and he was just asking some personal questions about how I was doing in school and what my major was, and it was a good first impression.
I told him that I thought it's fair when you're coaching the quarterback to be very demanding, that he do it exactly the right way. As long as a coach you do a good job of letting the quarterback know what's expected of him and then teaching him how you want him to do it. And I think it's fair for me to be demanding of him, and that's how it was going to be.
Take another one. Here we go. Take another one. Take 2.
I think he and Coach Laser have gotten a really good relationship going now from the mindset of a coordinator that's a quarterback. That communication between the two of them has been really, really enlightening for him as a player.
Mark, turn your head a little bit. Yellow 50 so he can hear you.
The standard that he'll be held to is that, hey, we're going to teach you how to do it, and then we're going to make sure that you know that's the only way that will be acceptable. And so he's approached every day as far as meetings, practice, and even the extra work that he's done with just that attitude, and I think it's going to work out great.
It's hard to miss Anthony Poindexter on the practice field. The former Virginia All-American coaches the same way that he played, with great passion, energy, and attention to detail.
Good, right there, good. Right there, good. That's it. Javante, hard tight, Javante, hard tight.
What I really try to bring to them is just the attitude that you have to play the game with. They all, and even me when I was their age, you think you're going to play this game forever, but it's a certain way I think you have to practice. I think it's a certain way you have to prepare in order to be a good player or a great player on Saturday. And that's what I try to bring to them. My kids will tell you, I never jump them for mental mistakes or something like that. We got to coach them through that. What I can jump you for is the effort you bring.
Poindexter's road to coaching in many ways began during his senior year at Virginia. The Lynchburg native turned down the chance to leave for the NFL and opted to return for his senior season. In the 7th game of the 1998 season, Dex suffered what would be a catastrophic knee injury that would forever change his life. Gone were his aspirations of a long career in the NFL.
I want to say it changed it for the better. I think I done impacted a lot more people by just the way I handled the situation and moving forward with, the rest of my life, my career. Obviously, I wanted to play long in the pros, but I've been blessed, I've been fortunate. I think God gave me a hell of a career to be able to do as much as I did while I was healthy. And the direction I took off in after that, the letters and stuff that I got, just the way I handled the situation, I think I impacted people more that way than I would have if I'd went on and made a lot of money.
A 2-year stint with the Baltimore Ravens was as long as Poindexter could hold up on that rebuilt knee. With a Super Bowl ring in hand, he found his way back to Charlottesville and returned to the practice field.
Give me something like this. Give me something more like this. Some more like that. You're all down in here now. Me going high school. Let's go, baby. Here you go. Get that butt up. Get that butt up. Here you go. Come on, let's get off. Let's get off. Get off. Here you go. Come on, that's too slow. That's too slow. My grandma can get off there half fast. Come on. Get off. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Poindexter served as Virginia's running backs coach from 2004 through 2008, then moved to the secondary for the 2009 season. Once Mike London was hired, it didn't take long for Poindexter to find out he was going to stay.
So I guess after he announced it, I kind of got the word that I was going to be able to stay on, and I looked to him as one of my mentors. He was on his staff when I first came here, and he kind of taught me how to coach, how to relate to players, how to do recruiting. I always looked at him as a mentor, and anytime I had questions, I would call him late night, anytime, early in the morning, and he always been there, even when he left, the same thing. So
players love him because he's so animated, so caring about them. He's Mr. UVA. Everything you could talk about a player being energetic, passionate, playing hard. Dex does that, so the guys he's coaching, I'm sure will do the same.
In 2009, Poindexter coached the cornerbacks and the safeties. Under London, he'll coach the safeties while Chip West is in charge of the corners. This arrangement allows Poindexter to coordinate the special teams for a group that wasn't so special a year ago. Virginia ranked in the bottom quarter of the ACC in punting, punt returns, and kickoff returns.
Special teams is 1/3 of what we do. They get the same emphasis as offense and defense in the special teams. The game broken down in thirds. If you win 2/3 of it, you'll win the game. If I have to, I put all 11 starters on offense or defense on the field to get what we need done. I think Coach London behind that, both coordinators behind it, and that's how we'll do it.
Let me get a good rep here. Let's go. Get that right there, PJ. Too tight. You're too tight. Too tight. Hey, PJ, you feel it gonna be too close? Just go ahead and get a go call. Go, 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 go.
And one of the things we talked about was trying to make the plan as simple as possible for the players to execute. We call those special teams units to run and hit. And so to allow those guys to run and hit and not necessarily be dependent upon schemes, but just teach sound fundamentals and learn how to cover on kickoffs and punts, learn how to block on punt returns and kickoff returns, cut the schemes down, and let the players play fast. Hopefully, because they're simple enough to just allow them to use their athletic skills.
Come on, good work today. Let's go. Good work. Here we go. Come on, bounce on.
I like showing up to work every day. I like coaching kids. As a coach, I think I'm a mentor, guidance counselor, advisor. We all are. That's what coaches are. Sometimes you serve your fathers to kids that need guidance, need development. And I think if they develop as young men while they're here, off the field, I think we done our job. Now, obviously, we always want to win on the field. And I think we'll do that, but we're going to develop good men off the field as well. So that's why I'm excited.
Vincent Brown, Virginia's linebackers coach, returned to Charlottesville for his second stint and had plenty of experience coaching alongside Mike London.
Vince Brown was here as a GA at Virginia when I was here. Vince played the linebacker position and coaches it very, very well, and made the transition to Richmond as a linebackers coach, and back here now where he's going to get our linebackers playing at a high level also.
Coach Brown is a great man. He's magnificent. He's a great football coach. He was 8 years in pro football. Coach Brown remembers everything about the linebacker position he was ever taught. In those first couple of practices, when I was telling everybody, well, I don't care if you make a mistake, go fast, go fast. Well, the linebackers are running in every different direction. Some of them go in the opposite directions when they should have been going in the same direction. After about the fourth practice in a staff meeting, Coach Brown said to me, he talks with his hands quite a bit, he said, Coach Reed. I said, yes, Coach Brown. He said, when do you think that it would be appropriate to get these young fellows in the proper gaps that they're supposed to be in, so they're not making these mistakes? And I thought about it and I said, well, in a couple of more practices, every practice I'm like, wow, did you see that speed? And Coach Brown would be like, yes, I did.
Brown will play a big role in helping Virginia transition to the 4-3 defense.
It's a little bit different, but you know, I think if you're a good athlete, if you're a really good athlete and a really good football player, then you can play in just about any scheme. You know, for some of the kids, it's a difficult transition for them because we're looking for not a read and react style defense. So, you know, we're trying to get the kids to buy into, when you see this, just go. Don't wait around. You don't have to worry about two gap in this guy and the cut back on this and pressing linemen. Just be aggressive, go hard, go fast. Don't worry about making mistakes. We'll be fine.
The new defensive scheme meant position changes for several Cavaliers.
Start on the back end. You start with the faster players that may be big enough to play linebacker, and you slide them up, and then you take bigger linebackers that are faster than your normal defensive linemen and slide them up front, so that way you're able to get a little more speed on the field up front at the linebacker level also. So we moved a couple of guys up who, you know, I think their natural positions are linebackers.
Two backs, it's easy for us backers because we know we got the two backs. The only tricky part becomes
in our scheme of things now, we want to be a more attack through the line of scrimmage, get up the field, create havoc in the backfield, and now let the linebackers run to the openings.
I like it. Nice shot. Way to go, way to go. There you go. There you go.
Next on Virginia football, the building of a program. The team travels to the Tidewater area for a unique practice at ODU. Cavalier great Sean Moore returns to Charlottesville in a new role.
Yeah, Timmy Smith, my DOG.
I just felt an obligation to come back to a place that had been down. You know, the program had been down the last few years, and I just wanted to see what it was like, to get into college athletics again via coaching at this level, and coming back to a place that was special, a place that I knew, and a place that I felt like we could get that swagger back.
And wide receiver Jared Green gets a fresh start.
Now I'm about to solidify myself and tell them who I am and what I'm here to do. I'm not here to joke and jive around. I'm not here to slap hands and be goofy today. It's about winning. And I wanted to set the tone, not only for the team, but for me, and tell myself, hey, this is how we're going to be.